currently have roughly 4. We will look at them once we go back to the office.
The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) has just dropped a bombshell, recalling members of parliament is off the table for the foreseeable future. This decision, announced on July 30th, has sent shockwaves through constituencies where voters are clamoring to oust underperforming lawmakers. At the center of this drama are high-profile figures like Nairobi Woman Representative Esther Passaris and North Imenti Member of Parliament Rahib Dawood, whose constituents are demanding accountability. But a legal roadblock from a 2017 High Court ruling has tied the IEBC's hands, leaving Kenyans frustrated and the recall process in limbo. Let's rewind to 2017, when the Katiba Institute and Transform Empowerment for Action initiative known as TEAM took on the Attorney General in a landmark case. The High Court, in a ruling cited as Katiba Institute and another versus Attorney General and another 2017 KEHC 4648 KLR, declared key sections of the Elections Act 2011 unconstitutional, specifically Section 45, 46 and 48, which outlined the grounds and procedures for recalling members of parliament, was struck down for being discriminatory. The court argued that these provisions placed an undue burden on voters, making it nearly impossible to exercise their constitutional right to recall under Article 104.
What's going on online, Kenyans are actively discussing this subject of recall. So,
this ruling created a massive legal gap, leaving no clear framework for recalling members of parliament. The impact of this decision is now front and center. IEBC chairperson Erastus Ethekon confirmed on Wednesday that the commission has received 4 petitions to recall MPs, but without enabling legislation, they are stuck.
Of course, it's the right of every Kenyan to exercise that right of recall under the Constitution. And as IEBC, we will be there to do that which we can or which the law allows us. We will receive those petitions, we will examine them, and then we will, of course, respond to them accordingly.
Ethekon stated, quote, "There is currently no legal framework to process these petitions," pointing to the 2017 ruling as the culprit. This is not just a bureaucratic hiccup, it is a blow to Kenyans who see the recall process as a tool to hold their leaders accountable before the 2027 general election. One of the most high-profile cases involves Nairobi Woman Representative Esther Passaris. On Monday, July 28, a group of Nairobi residents, led by activist Shakira Wafula, submitted a petition to the IEBC accusing Passaris of constitutional violations, abuse of office, neglect of duty, and breach of public trust. The petition, filed by Wafula alongside Marvin Mabunga, Dominic Omandi, and Kich Soet, gained traction after Passaris sponsored the controversial Public Order Amendment Bill 2025. Critics slammed the bill as an attempt to curb protest, especially after the deadly 2024 anti-finance bill demonstrations. Passaris, facing intense backlash, postponed the bill, citing a need for broader dialogue, but the damage was done. In her response, Esther Passaris did not back down. Quote, "Leadership is about building a better future, not tearing another down," she said, challenging her detractors to show what they could offer Nairobians. She defended her record, emphasizing her work as a woman representative and her alignment with President William Ruto's transformative agenda. But for petitioners like Wafula, who expressed confidence in gathering over 1 million signatures, this is about more than one member of parliament. It is about reminding Kenyans of their democratic power. Meanwhile, in North Imenti, Member of Parliament Rahim Dawood is also in hot water. Constituents filed a petition citing his support for the 2024 finance bill, his silence on abductions and murders in the region, and his role in the controversial impeachment of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. They also accused Dawood, now in his 3rd term, or failing to secure funds for stalled government projects in Meru. The petition reflects growing discontent with lawmakers perceived as out of touch or complicit in unpopular decisions. So, how does Kenya's recall process work, or rather how it is supposed to work? Under normal circumstances, a voter from the member's constituency submits a written petition to the IEBC detailing the grounds for recall. These grounds, as outlined in Article 104 of the Elections Act, includes gross violation of the Constitution, electoral offences, mismanagement of public funds, or misconduct that brings disrepute to the office. Once the IEBC acknowledges the petition, petitioners must collect signatures from at least 30% of the registered voters in the constituency, with 15% from each ward. The IEBC then has 30 days to verify these signatures. If valid, the Commission notifies the Speaker of the National Assembly within 15 days, triggering a recall election within 90 days. In this election, voters answer simply yes or no question. Should the MP be recalled? A simple majority 50+1 decides the outcome, but at least 50% of the registered voters must participate for the elections to be valid. If the recall succeeds, the IEBC conducts a by-election, and here is the kicker. The recalled Member of Parliament can still run for the vacated seat, but there are restrictions. A recall cannot be initiated within the first 2 years of an MP's term, within 12 months of the next general election, or more than once per term, and those who lost on the Member of Parliament in the previous election cannot file the petition. This process sounds straightforward, but the 2017 ruling has rendered it impossible for MPs. The unconstitutional provisions included steep signature requirements and vague grounds for recall, which critics argue were deliberately designed to shield lawmakers. Legal analyst Fanya Mambo Kinuthia noted, quote, "The process is intimidating, slow, and vulnerable to manipulation. The vagueness leaves too much discretion to the IEBC. Without a new legal framework, petitions like those against Passaris and Wood are dead on arrival." Interestingly, the story is different for members of county assemblies (MCAs). After the 2017 ruling, Parliament amended the County Governments Act to address similar issues with MCA recalls. As a result, constituents can still file petitions to recall MCAs following a process similar to one for MPs. This discrepancy has raised eyebrows, with some questioning why MPs seem to enjoy greater protection than their county counterparts. The IEBC is not sitting idly by. The Commission has formally submitted recommendations to Parliament, urging lawmakers to enact a clear legal framework for MPs' recall. Quote, "We've called for urgent legislative amendments to clarify the recall process and make it enforceable," an IEBC source quoted. The Senate Standing Committee on Justice, Legal Affairs and Human Rights has taken up the cause, instructing the Attorney General to develop a policy framework for February 2026. This framework will cover both elected and nominated members of Parliament and MCAs, ensuring Kenyans can exercise their constitutional right under Article 104 of the Constitution. But time is ticking. With the 2027 general election looming, the window for recalls is narrowing. The Constitution prohibits recalls within 12 months to a general election, meaning any new framework must be in place well before the mid-2026 to have an impact. The IEBC is also juggling other priorities like voter registration, boundary delimitation, and preparing for 23 by-elections. Chairperson Ethekon has emphasized transparency, stating, quote, "Our goal is to restore public trust in the electoral process." This legal limbo has sparked a broader conversation about accountability. The push to recall MPs like Passaris and Wood stems from a growing appetite for civic engagement, fueled by the 2024 youth-led protest against the finance bill. Kenyans, especially Gen Z, are demanding more from their leaders. Yet, the challenges are daunting. Collecting signatures, 750,000 in Nairobi alone, is no small feat. And even if petitioners succeed, the lack of legal framework means their efforts may stall. Critics argue that Parliament's failure to act since 2017 reflects a deliberate attempt to protect members of Parliament. As Kenya heads toward 2027, the recall crisis underscores a deeper tension: the power of the people versus the resilience of the political class. Will Parliament step up to close the legal gap, or will MPs continue to enjoy a shield against accountability? For now, the petition against Esther Passaris, Rahim Dawood and others remain in limbo, a stark reminder that the fight for democratic power is far from over. What do you think? Can Kenyans overcome these legal hurdles to hold their members of parliament accountable? Drop your thoughts in the comment. Newsroom, Maisha TV, reader carrying Chubet.